Well, folks, have you ever had fish loss that you really don't know why? Was your fish old? I didn't see any signs of sickness. Just started having dying off. So let's kind of give you an update on fish that I've lost. So number one, which I didn't know if they were gonna survive anyway. So my waroos back here, they laid eggs, like they do all the time, and in that tank the eggs never hatch. They get eaten or whatever. So here a couple weeks ago I decided to take a rock that they laid eggs on, pull it out. I hatched some eggs out. I had about 11 fry, and up until yesterday I only had like 1 or 2 left, and then this morning they were dead. And they were swimmers, but you know, whatever it is that I'm doing, trying to get them fried to survive, didn't work. So that was kind of expected. So now what about the unexpected stuff? What happens when you have a tank and all of a sudden you're noticing fish are dying and you don't know why? You check your water parameters, like we all do, right? You know, you go in here, you test for nitrates, you test for nitrite, you test for ammonia, you test your pH, you test your phosphorus, you do all these testing, but everything looks good. But your fish died, some of them. Not all of them, some of them. And you're like, I don't know why. So my 40 breeder over here, and I'll show it to you here in just a little bit. So my 40 breeder, it is humongously populated with Java fern. And my Java fern that's in there, I started out with a little thing that you buy at the store, and it has just grown like crazy in that tank. Like, I mean, crazy. If you've seen some of my past videos of my 40 breeder, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I kept neon tetras in there, and I kept empire gudgeons, and I got a couple of plecos, some autosynclus, a Cory cat, and 1 algae eater, Siamese algae eater. So I had about 30 neon tetras, tetra family. So I have black neons and neon tetras. And the other day I've noticed, like, where's all my neons? Where's all my tetras? Where'd they go? And I'm down, probably about 6 or 7. Now I've had these fish in here for a long time, so they are pretty old. But it still doesn't explain the loss of all of them so quickly. And the bad part about it is I'm not finding dead bodies. I mean, they're not floating and they're not in the substrate. You know, I'm like, where'd they go? And I know they're not jumping out, although maybe they could be, but I haven't seen that. And so I don't know if my plecos, if they die and my plecos are eating them, you know, I have no idea. Anyhow, so today I decided, well, let's take a look at this tank, and I pulled a huge root ball of Java fern out of there. My gosh, I didn't realize how much Java fern. The root ball was at least this big around there, and it was attached to like 5 other root balls about the same size. I mean, they're just all tied together. So I went in there with scissors and just chopped it around the root ball, and I got one big root ball, and I took it and stuck it outside in my summer tub to let it grow. It's taller, it's deeper water, so it'll grow up taller. It was growing up so much in the 40 breeder. When I pulled the top off, I actually had some Java fern that was coming out of the water. It was sticking out of the water about 2 inches. And I got darn it. So it's growing pretty good. So I did that, and then I did what I've rarely ever done a water change on this tank. And so I don't know if the TDS levels got really high, and that could be doing it. And matter of fact, I didn't even think about testing TDS until just now when I talked about it to myself. So maybe that was part of the problem. Anyway, I did about an 80% water change on this. And something that I've never done in this tank ever is I siphoned the moam off the substrate, a bunch of it. I mean, I've never vacuumed that tank. I mean, it was, I guess that's why the plants is growing so good, because that loam is just turning into soil and turning into nutrients and, you know, keeping the plants alive. So I did a big vacuum, and like I say, I did about 80% water change on there. And so let's take a look at the tank now. You're going to see a noticeable difference in the Java fern. There's a big section missing in the back right corner, and there's still a bunch in there, but it's like, it's just a huge root ball. I mean, I was just impressed with the root ball that I pulled out of there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the amount of roots and stuff. It's just a big tangled mess in there. Anyway, so let's just take a look at the tank, and I'll show you. And if you have any thoughts on maybe why I had some death, I mean, I don't have any idea. I mean, sometimes that's part of the hobby that we don't like to talk about. But all of us as fish keepers, we do go through it. Fish die. I mean, it happens, either from sickness, or I've had fish jump out of my tanks before. So, you know, there's various reasons, you know, that it can happen. So anyhow, and another thing that I didn't notice when I was in the 40 breeder is I haven't seen my Empire gudgeons in there. And I saw them there the other day, but you know, when I was draining the water out, all that Java fern just lays like a mat on top of the water. So I'm going to have to be looking to see if they're still in there, or did they die too? I don't know. Right now I can't see them. So anyway, let's go look at the tank, and you know, just let me know what you think. Anyhow, all right. So this is the 40 breeder, and I don't know if you can see over here in this back corner, has a giant root ball. Like I say, it's probably 4 inches around, that I pulled out of that back corner, full of this Java fern. And I still, like you see, look at all that Java fern that's still in there. And from all the way to the right where you see that Java fern coming up, all the way over to about midway of the tank, that's all big root balls of Java fern. It just keeps growing like crazy. And like I say, there's one of my little neons in here, and my Cory's still alive, I see in here. I've seen my plecos, so I know they're okay. And there's the black neons. There's like 5 of those guys I still see swimming around. My Siamese algae eater I still see swimming around in here. The only ones I haven't noticed is my Empire gudgeons, and haven't seen them, but I will have to dig around and take a look and see if I can find them. I'm sure they're in here, but I just haven't seen them. Oh, there's one right there. You see? I believe that's my female. So I at least have a female staring at me. So that's a good sign. But like I say, I got black neons and some regular neons, and it's like, I had, like I say, a school of about 30 total, and I've lost a ton. So I'm going to give this a couple days and see how things go, because like I said, I did a big massive water change, and I will check the TDS on it. It should be much better, because all I ever did was top it off. So maybe my TDS got too high. I just don't know. But anyway, that is my 40 breeder. All right, folks, so I wanted to show you the Java fern that I pulled out of my 40 breeder. You see how long this guy is? I mean, he's huge. And this is the root ball that I'm talking about. Look at all them roots. And you don't even see them all, because I shoved some of it into the dirt. So, and look at the cluster of stems coming out of this thing. So it's pretty impressive set there. And while we're here, we just kind of zoom out a little bit so you can see that giant Java fern. And then course, this is all my rice fish in here. They're all over in this stuff. And you got some hiding over there in the corner. And this is a peace lily that's growing. You can see a new leaf coming out there. And then there's a new leaf coming up right there on that small one. And literally, it's just going pretty good. I love this little setup. It's actually really good. So it's going to be nice when the summertime hits. Right now we're in the 50s and 60s, so is what it is. Oh, and by the way, there's my tub that had the rice fish fry in it. As you can see, I didn't throw it away. It's full of plants. So I'm going to keep all these plants growing. Just there's no fish left in it. We'll just let the plants grow. Let it thrive, and then I can cultivate plants out of it and whatever. So get a nice look from the distance from outside here. So beautiful. This is going to be a most excellent summer tub, I can tell you that for sure.